giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Aaron Rodgers grabs center stage tonight in a new shade of green on Monday Night Football. The Rodgers-Jets era officially begins against the Bills tonight. Hype's been building for New York since the acquisition of the future Hall of Fame quarterback from Green Bay. Couple of keys for Rodgers and the Jets to get the W tonight, explains ESPN's Booger McFarland.
He's got to be a ball distributor. He doesn't have to be MVP Aaron Rodgers. He's just got to be the guy to be the ultimate point guard. They got a ton of weapons. Yes. A ton of weapons. He's got to get the ball to those weapons, but it all starts with the offensive line. That's been the biggest question mark with this team all summer long. Can the offensive line protect him?
Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern, ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus, with Peyton and Eli on the Manning Cast on ESPN2. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting the NBA's Board of Governors on Wednesday expected to approve more strident rules and punishments to limit the resting of star players for nationally televised and in-season tournament games and instances of multiple All-Stars sitting out the same regular season game. League would be able to fine teams over $1 million for violations.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Always nicer on a Monday when the Tigers and the Saints both win. Makes that wake up just a little bit easier. We'll delve into all of it today. Peter Burns, 1 hour from right now. Our college football takeaways, previewing Monday Night Football. So a ton to do, but let us begin today as we do every day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
What a difference a week makes. No, I'm not going to sit here and gloat and peacock over LSU blowing out a school from the SWAC. I am more so speaking to the general feel around the LSU program coming off a weekend where Alabama lost at home to Texas. Texas A&M lost on the road to Miami. Ole Miss was pretty much out physicaled at the line of scrimmage by an American Athletic Conference opponent. Mississippi State was a 9-point home favorite over Arizona and needed overtime to win. And Auburn had a total clunker on the road at Cal, but managed to escape with a win as well. My point is, even after last week went the way it did against Florida State, the rest of your schedule just doesn't feel as daunting anymore, does it? Lo and behold, the season is long. Teams are allowed to improve, and I suspect this LSU team will, as they did on Saturday night in the blowout of Grambling. So, a few takeaways. Look, it's one of those games where you do something great everyone rolls their eyes and says, or folds their arms and says, you're supposed to. That's Grambling. And you're right. You do something badly, everyone throws their hands in the air and says, how could you let that happen? It's Grambling. And they're right. So LSU putting up 72 points. The first time LSU scored 70 in regulation since a game against Arkansas State in 1991. The most points LSU's put up since they put 77 on Rice back in 1977. So, an landmark offensive day. But yes, it was against a completely outmanned school from the SWAC. But you still scored on your first 10 possessions. And the only time you got stopped was when you ran the ball on a 4th and 5 and you got 4 yards at the end of the ball game. So you were 10 for 10 on scoring possessions. That was great. We got to see Logan Diggs. We got to see Caleb Jackson. We got to see a lot in this ball game. And then the flip side of it, obviously, is your defense had some struggles at the beginning that they sorted out. So a few takeaways. I will start offensively. Logan Diggs was great. The day LSU got Logan Diggs, said it on this show, that Logan Diggs, the minute he stepped foot on LSU's campus, was the most talented running back that LSU has, and you saw it. He is a physical runner. He is a guy that's got some wiggle, some make you miss. I know not many people actually pay attention to this, but he actually is really good in pass protection. He can catch passes. He is your most complete back. He is your best, most talented back. And you saw that on Saturday against Grambling. The other player that we got to see really get his first action as a running back was Caleb Jackson. And Caleb Jackson, he really reminds me of LeBrandon Tofield. He is just a really thickly built in the lower half, powerful runner. And to see Caleb Jackson get going was very reminiscent of what we saw in that scrimmage in Tiger Stadium, where he was the star. And Brian Kelly tried to downplay it a bit afterwards, saying, oh, well, maybe that was because the defense wasn't tackling. No, you saw it. There's just a different level of drive and power when Caleb Jackson runs the ball. And you've probably now identified your two most talented backs with Logan Diggs and Caleb Jackson. Josh Williams is obviously going to have a role on this team. Noah Cain got a game ball afterwards, and Brian Kelly and Noah Cain basically said it's because he's willing to do whatever he has to do to help the team win. That's a great team concept from a veteran player there in Noah Cain. We saw, we've seen, obviously you've got John Emery coming back this week as well. Armani Goodwin's still battling a little injury, but the point is you've got tons of depth at running back, and you saw that on display. We got to see Lance Hurd. Hurd went into the ball game. Let's see, LSU scored 3 first-quarter touchdowns. They scored on the second play of the second quarter was the shovel pass to Malik Neighbors that he scored on. But LSU's first drive that started in the second quarter, Lance Hurd went in at right tackle and never left the game. Even when there were wholesale rotations, he stayed in at right tackle. Miles Frazier went in at right guard. By the way, Brian Kelly today, when he met with reporters, was asked about Lance Hurd's sort of debut, and he liked what he saw. Give a listen.
We liked his presence in the lineup. He was assignment correct. He was physical at the point of contact. And we felt like, by and large, for a first time in a collegiate, football game, he handled the emotions of the game very well. So I think we're on track to kind of similarly do what we did in the last game with him in the next game as well. Miles will still start at guard, but there's going to be a rotation there.
So he's telling you he's like Lance Hurd is going to play. It's a very similar formula filed last year with Emory Jones. He's right. He physically belongs. If Lance Hurd had gone out against Grambling and really struggled, that's a pretty sure telltale that he ain't ready to go play on the road at Mississippi State. You go out there and you play 3 quarters against Grambling and you hold your own and you play really well and you're physical and there are no missed assignments. That says, okay, let's go give the kid a shot. So let's see what he does this week in Starkville because he'll get some run. Denver Harris started at 1 cornerback, and much of the result was the same. He did give up a touchdown on the first drive, and then on the second drive had a pass interference called against him. So, forgive me, that was Grambling's third possession where he had the PI. So he gave up the touchdown on the first possession, and the PI was on Grambling's third possession. In any event, Brian Kelly today talked about Denver Harris and kind of what's holding him back. Can you play the short one, please? Here's what Brian Kelly said about Denver Harris.
He's learning our coverages. He's learning, he's a press corner, and we don't just play press. We play press, and we play bail, and we play off, and then we play press to off. And so there's a lot of different things that he's learning. He was just strictly a press corner, and he just pressed you, and when you came off the bus, he pressed you. And this is new to him, but he's learning, and he wants to get better at it every day. So, listen, I'm a coach. I want a captive audience. I want guys that want to be coached. And the great part about it is he wants to be coached.
That's great. So we'll see what type of progress he might be able to make. But for literally as long as we've talked about Denver Harris here and him running with the threes, the thing I've told you consistently is what I've been told is that he's a great athlete. He has basically just played man his whole life, and he's got to learn how to play within a defensive concept. And Brian Kelly said that today. So see how that continues to progress as the year goes along. Harold Perkins moved back to the outside of that pass breakup on the first play of the game. He'll continue to come into his own there, I have no doubt. And then, of course, the other thing that everyone's talking about were the defensive struggles. You allowed 173 yards in the first quarter. 173 yards in the first quarter. But you essentially allowed about 150 the rest of the game. And that was while you were rotating in backups. Listen, to watch on a 3rd and 15, Grambling run 35 yards on a draw, 3rd and 10, a 27-yard run. Brian Kelly said today, look, there were a couple of runs where they got caught in dime coverage. So, look, it was 3rd and long. LSU was playing coverage. Grambling decided to run the ball, and they broke off long runs. Stinks happened. You're glad it happened in this game, and it's a teachable moment for when you move forward. But for the most part, we're sitting here 1 week after LSU lost to Florida State, where there was this collective melt a week ago where people were wondering, should they fire Brian Kelly? Is Mike Denbrock really the guy? Is Brian Kelly capable of winning a championship here? Should they bench Jaden Daniels? I mean, all the melt a week ago. And think about it right now. Think about this very logically right now. Is there any game left on LSU's schedule that they can't win? LSU's a 10-point road favorite in Starkville Saturday. Arkansas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Auburn, Army, Bama, Florida, Georgia State, A&M. Is there any game on LSU's schedule remaining they can't win? You know the answer. It's unequivocally no. They are capable of winning every game remaining on their schedule. That's why I was bullish on this team from the beginning. Few questions, manageable schedule. Yes, last week sucked. The loss to Florida State was awful. But they were better than Florida State for a half. There's plenty of room to get better, and you have a schedule against which you can do that. So keep building good weeks. Got an opportunity going on the road in conference play this week in Starkville. See if the Tigers can put together a good week of practice. Go get a win on the road to start SEC playoff on a good foot. All right, LSU beats Grambling 72-10. Our open every day is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, official beer of the Southern Jaguars. If you're going to be watching in the stadium or at home all football season long, reach for an ice-cold Bud Light. Our friends at Mockler Beverage have just been awesome to work with. We're so grateful for that partnership, that relationship. They've been awesome to us. They've been great community partners for 4 decades. I mean, literally donating millions of dollars annually. Literally donating millions annually to great charitable organizations around our community. It's Mockler Beverage and the great taste of Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana this football season with Bud Light. All right, it's after further review. Quick break. We'll come back. Let's flip it from Saturday to Sunday. Who-dats get a win by the Hearts, but they got it. All right. We'll continue next on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know where to find them on any of the social media platforms at Get Gordon. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen, but they have announced the winners of the Get Gordon Billboards contest. So if you have a shot, get to any of their social media. I tell you all the time, just at Get Gordon on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok. some of the billboard designs that are the winners are awesome. There's one, it's Gordon in a Superman costume with the dog Penny on there as well with a cape. That's pretty good. There's a Taylor Swift eras. It's basically the different eras of Gordon, which is really good. There's one that's a play on the famous Beatles album cover where they're walking across the street. Anyway, check them all out. Great job, great creativity, and of course, Gordon likes to have fun. But most importantly, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up and down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there in the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
So it's Carr on 3rd down. Down the sideline, open receiver, Shaheed! Steps out of bounds, doesn't like that, but makes the catch in a big chunk for New Orleans when they need it.
Sounded on CBS, Derek Carr to Rashid Shaheed. 3rd and 6. Mike Vrabel rolled the dice. He kicked a field goal from the 11-yard line instead of trying to go for the touchdown, thinking 2-minute warning, 3 timeouts. His defense would get a stop, give the offense another chance. That play assured the offense would not get another chance as Derek Carr, beautifully dialed up by Pete Carmichael to take that chance, and Carr hit Rashid Shaheed to ice it. Here was Derek Carr on the play that iced it for the Saints.
Me and Pete talked about it on the sideline, and I told Pete that was a play that I liked, and he trusted Sheed and I to make the play. And the offensive line gave me time to throw it, and when he's that fast, I was just trying not to throw it out of bounds, and he ran a great route, caught it, all that. It's exciting, but that goes back to Pete trusting us. He asked me, what I liked throughout the game, all that kind of stuff, and before that drive, that was something that I really liked.
It would be very easy today to look at the final score at 16-15 and bemoan how it played out. There is one undeniable truth, and I feel like every single Saints season I have to say this so plainly and abundantly clear. You never, ever apologize for how you win in the NFL. It is so hard to win a game in the NFL. The margins are so small that you never apologize for how you get it done. Now, as I often say, sometimes winning masks deficiencies. So you win the game, you tend to brush aside or ignore the things that went wrong. We're going to talk about those, and this team has a lot that it needs to build on. But you never apologize for how you win in the NFL. Listen, I picked Tennessee to win this game because I thought they were better on the line of scrimmage. That was ultimately my reasoning. I was like, are you with Jeffrey Simmons and with that whole defensive front and as active as they are, you got Arden Key, a healthy, motivated Arden Key, incredibly. You got Harold Landry. You looked at that front, Danico Autry, and on the flip side, that offensive line and Derrick Henry against a revamped Saints defensive front, which was 24th in the NFL against the rush a year ago. Tennessee had the advantage on the line of scrimmage. And if you hadn't watched the game and looked in hindsight and said, man, Tennessee held New Orleans to 27 rushes for 69 yards. They sacked Derek Carr 4 times, had 7 TFLs, 8 quarterback hits, 4 passes defense. You're looking at that going, man, and the Saints only scored once, 1 touchdown. You're going, well, figure that probably how it went. But the fact that you won this game is a massive credit to Dennis Allen and the Saints defense. It has to be the first thing that you take. Well, listen, we're going to talk about Trevor Penning, and I know he played terribly, and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about a lot of the other stuff. How do you get Taysom Hill more involved? There's a lot of stuff to talk about, clearly. But your defense did not allow a touchdown, held Tennessee to 3 field goals in 3 red zone trips, recorded 3 interceptions. By the way, the Saints didn't get their 3rd interception last year until week 13. You limited Derrick Henry in the second half. For the game, he had only 15 rushes for 63 yards. Marshawn Lattimore locked down DeAndre Hopkins, who has brutally beaten this team in the past. 7 receptions for just 65 yards. That's 7 receptions on 13 targets. They were barely above 50% completion on his targets. And oh, by the way, how about a credit to Blake Grupe as well? Do you think the Saints are feeling good about the decision they made today? Will Lutz missed his first PAT with the Broncos and pushed a field goal wide right in a game they lost by 1 point. Meanwhile, Blake Grupe goes 3 for 3 for the New Orleans Saints with a long of 52. Welcome to the league, kid. Nails. 3 for 3 and made his PAT. Scored 10 points for you in a game that you won by 1. Yeah, I'll take it. Couple of takeaways from the game. Rashid Shaheed fumbling the opening kickoff. That sucked. I mean, I don't know that a season could possibly begin worse than it did, but sudden change. Defense goes out there and holds him to a field goal. That felt like a win in that spot. We got to talk about Derek Carr. It was his debut, and oddly, we get this deep into the segment of Derek Carr's first game in New Orleans, and it takes us till now to get to it. But I thought Derek Carr was good. He threw for 300 yards, 23 of 33 for 305. It's the most passing yards by a Saints quarterback since Drew Brees' last season in 2020. Here was Dennis Allen after the game on Derek Carr's performance in his debut with the Saints.
Yeah, look, I thought there was a lot of good things that I saw. I'm sure there's a few things that we probably need to look at and maybe get fixed. I think early on in the game, like I said, I don't know that we did as good a job as we needed to in terms of getting protection for him. And once we kind of settled that in a little bit more, I thought you saw in the second half, I thought you saw a little bit more effectiveness in the passing game. But, we felt like there might be some opportunities, down the field and the big pass play there to Rashid there at the end. Obviously, the touchdown pass, those were big plays in the game.
First play of the game was a 25-yard completion to Mike Thomas. Welcome back, Mike Thomas. That was great to see. I thought Derek Carr was fine. The interception at the end of the first half was heinous. You got to get points there. You can't turn the ball over in the red zone like he did. But the other part is he was under total duress the entire game. So the fact that Derek Carr stood in there and continued to deliver the football despite the fact that he was sacked 4 times, hit 8 times, he was constantly under pressure. The fact that he stayed in there, stood tall, delivered the ball, and continued to move the offense was great. You just got to convert in the red zone. I mean, you moved the ball up and down the field throughout the game. 351 yards of total offense to 285 for Tennessee. You've just got to convert drives. 4 red zone attempts, 1 touchdown, and 2 field goals, and then the turnover. So would obviously love to see him finish drives. But all in all, a fine first outing for Derek Carr in New Orleans. We can't say the same for Trevor Penning. It was his second career start. And what we've known about Penning to this point in his career, dominant run blocker, really struggles in pass protection, and Arden Key and Harold Landry ate his lunch. It was almost like he wasn't moving. As the game went along, they had to give him help. You started to see Foster Moreau chip before he went out on pass routes. They gave him help on that left side with backs as well, with protection. That was a really, really rough go. And at one point in the game, it was so bad, I seriously thought they might consider moving James Hurst to left tackle and either putting Penning in at right guard or at left guard or bringing Andrus Peat in at left guard. They stuck with it and decided to give him help. And now the real question is, okay, if this is your baseline, and it's the first game starting out there, and it was an unenviable draw against that defensive front, but how much better can he get? Here was Dennis Allen on the day that Trevor Penning had.
I'm not concerned. This guy's going to be a good player. You got a young guy that's playing against a extremely good front. So does he have to get better? Absolutely. Am I concerned? No. I think we just keep our head down and keep going to work, and we'll keep getting better, and we'll make our evaluations when we get to the end of the season, see where we're at. But I think this kid's going to be just fine.
Okay, so they're going to roll with him. And look, you saw athletically enough in him to take him with a first-round pick. That doesn't always work out. The Saints drafted Andrus Peat with eyes on him being a starting right tackle. It didn't work out. He ended up being a guard. You drafted Ryan Ramczyk who was a left tackle at Wisconsin. You drafted him to be your right tackle, and he has been one of the best right tackles in the league. I can remember back to when the Raiders took Robert Gallery. Didn't they take Robert Gallery 3rd or 4th overall out of Iowa, thinking he would be a franchise left tackle? He played a dozen years in the NFL. He was just a guard. He was an interior player. And maybe that's what's going to happen here with Trevor Penning, but clearly they're not ready to give up on him after one game out at left tackle, but he has a lot of room to go for improvement. How about Brian Brzez's debut? He had a tackle, had a half a sack, 2 quarterback hits. He missed another full sack had the quarterback in the grasp and slowed him down. Ultimately, someone came and cleaned it up, but Brzez was right there for a potential another sack. Great to see him get that push, in his first action. Where was Taysom Hill? I think that's fair to ask. They targeted him one time. It was the throw that was high and wide in the end zone, and then he only carried the ball 3 times for 4 yards, and when they did let him run, they were largely trying to get him to the outside, which, against that defense, what are you doing? So the run game struggled. The run game struggled in large part because you were facing a team that led the NFL in rush defense a year ago, and you were without Alvin Kamara, and you were without Kendre Miller. Jamal Williams showed you he is a plotter between the tackles. He's not going to be super explosive, and your only other option was Tony Jones. So you're going to have to get creative in the running game until Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller come back. But you are 1-0. You are 1-0, and your next one is Monday Night Football in Charlotte against the Panthers, with Bryce Young making his home debut and his second ever start. And y'all, we talked about it several weeks back, and it was a clip that on our social media went viral for the wrong reasons. It went viral because a lot of fans were were mad at Musso for how he ranked quarterbacks. It wasn't even really a ranking. It was just, I randomly asked him, said, Muse, shout out the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And one by one, we rolled through the list of Mahomes and Herbert and Burrow and Hurts and Lamar Jackson, all the best quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers. Saints don't play any of them. Look at the quarterbacks you play. You just won a one-score game, a one-point game on a day where Ryan Tannehill threw 3 awful interceptions. Well, 2 of them were awful. I mean, it matters the quarterbacks you're going to play. Bryce Young didn't have a great debut on Sunday in a loss for Carolina. It ain't going to get easier with this Saints defense going to Charlotte next week. Saints got a great chance to start 2-0. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out this year. Our Monday shows, as always, are brought to you by Relief Windows. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Now, indoor shutters as well. Check them out at Relief Windows. Let me knock out a break. We'll go around the SEC. Also, every week, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you what we're watching in the football weekend. So on Monday, we come back and recap what we learned from those things. So we'll do that in about 15 minutes. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Monday Night Football tonight to polish off your weekend. Great opportunity to get by Rouse's. Go pick up whatever you want to throw on the grill. If you want ready-made grab-and-go meals, they got it. If it's boiled seafood or if it's things like sushi or hot plate dinners, they've got it all at Rouse's. They got a bakery and a florist, so everything you want they got. And, of course, if you're going to make groceries, Rouse's has been helping Louisiana do that for 60 years. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. We always encourage you to get to Rouse's.com. Learn more about how you can do curbside carry out there with your personal shopper. And Rouse's has the Saints Ultimate Game Day Experience. You can learn more on their social media, but if you text Saints to 86261, you can win the Ultimate Game Day Experience for the Saints versus Rams game. Again, text Saints to 86261 to learn. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there in the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Remember, you can always tweet us or X us.
Hey, Twitter. Oh, no, not Twitter. Hey, X world.
Thank you, George Truly. You can always hit us there at Matt Moscona. Or you're welcome to text the show on the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. You probably saw the news that Michigan State suspended Mel Tucker amid this harassment case. I understand that a lot of people have children in the car around this time. I will very, very briefly read to you what some of the allegations are. Just understand that it's adult in nature, so if you have kids in the car, you may want to either turn the volume or change the channel. It's not graphic, but it is adult content in nature. So Brenda Tracy, who operates a nonprofit raising awareness about sexual misconduct, apparently was speaking at Michigan State, and she and Mel Tucker had some type of interaction. She's saying that was inappropriate. She's saying Tucker sexually harassed him and told university investigators that Tucker sent her gifts, asked if she would date him if he wasn't married, and masturbated while on the phone without her consent. Tucker told investigators he did all of this, but it was consensual. In the meantime, Mark D'Antonio, the former coach, is now coming back to the team as an associate head coach. He retired in February of 2020 when they ultimately went out and hired Mel Tucker. I will remind you that Mel Tucker has $77 million remaining on his contract. And they certainly have an opportunity here to fire him with cause. Potentially, anyway, pending this investigation. Adam Rittenberger from ESPN tweeted just a bit ago, statement from Mel Tucker through his attorney, quote, Brenda Tracy's allegations of harassment are completely false. Tucker says he and Tracy, quote, developed a mutual friendship that grew into an intimate adult relationship. Tucker and his wife have been estranged for some time, they know. Goes on. Tucker says of the intimate conversation with Tracy in April 2022, quote, never once during the 36 minutes did she object in any manner, much less hang up the phone. I'm not here to make judgments. Once we have all the information, we could certainly go there. But one thing is abundantly clear. Mel Tucker in year one, they won 11 games. They won 11-2. Surprised everybody. Michigan State gave him a $100 million contract or $92 million contract. He followed that up with a 5-7 season. This year, Vegas has their projected win total over under at 5.5. They are 2-0 right now. But if you want to get out of a $90 million contract where you have $77 million left and you ain't feeling great about the decision you made, this certainly would seem to provide that opportunity in some form of a settlement if they get to that point. But as that progresses, we'll let you know. In the meantime, Michigan State will have an interim head coach while Mel Tucker is on up. Is suspended. And it's also another thing where you could very clearly look from LSU through LSU's lens and go, you dodged one there. Because there were people around LSU who were staunchly pushing for Mel Tucker. And there was a point early in that process where he was a name that was prominently discussed and considered. And LSU pretty clearly dodged one in that instance. All right. We'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. 31 offices across 11 different states. Tell you every day about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Get to the website over at Michelli. You can always hit the services tab, and it'll tell you everything they do. So often for people in many different industries, the dozens of industries that they service, they'll look at the website and go, I didn't realize you did that. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, they got an on-site option, so if you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave your facility, They can calibrate it on site for you. Surface plates, welding machines, pressure and temperature gauges. And at Michelli, they're looking for technicians as well. So you can always go to Michelli.com. That's Michelli, Michelli.com. They love doing business face-to-face, but always encourage you to start at the website, Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky offensive coordinator Liam Cohen was hospitalized Sunday after suffering what the school characterized as a medical episode while working in the football offices earlier in the day. Cohen's just 37 years old. He's in his second stint as OC with the Wildcats. Remember, he left for a year to go to the Rams, now back at Kentucky. No further details on his condition were provided. Kentucky is 2-0. They beat Eastern Kentucky, and they host Akron this weekend.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas football will be without the services of star running back Raheem Sanders for Saturday's game against BYU in Fayetteville. Sanders also did not play against Kent State this past weekend, swelling and inflammation in his knee. So the focus is shifted on trying to get him ready for the trip to Baton Rouge a week from Saturday. Also, cornerback Dwight McGlothern has turf toe, although Sam Pittman is expecting that McGlothern will be available for BYU this weekend.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Center Cooper Mays is practicing in anticipation of playing against Florida. He was first-team preseason All-SEC and has missed the first couple of games after having a procedure before the season started. No details on the type of procedure. But Tennessee plays Florida in Gainesville this weekend. Tennessee has not beaten Florida in the Swamp in 20 years, 2003. So we'll see if Cooper Mays is a go for the Vols.
The Florida Gators.
Meanwhile, Florida starting center Kingsley Eguakun is expected to return to practice this week. Senior offensive lineman has not played in a game yet this year. Has a high ankle sprain he suffered during fall camp. The only full-time starter returning from Florida's offensive line a year ago. If Eguakun is unable to play against the Vols, former LSU outfielder Jake Slaughter is expected to continue to man the starting center position for the Gators.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
It's a pretty good opportunity to jump in and say that's a different.
It's not him.
Yeah, thanks. It's Radio Muse, auditory media. Same guy, by the way.
Not the same guy.
Same guy.
Not the same guy.
Yep.
Nope.
You're going to tell me Jake Slaughter didn't play baseball at LSU?
He did, but now he's with the Iowa Cubs. He has no affiliation to the University of Florida whatsoever.
All I know is that Jake Slaughter is starting at center for the Gators.
Different guy.
Same guy.
Nope.
Jake Slaughter. What's hard to understand about that? Jake Slaughter. Spelled the same. Jake Slaughter.
Different guy.
Mississippi State's secondary will be depleted when they come to Baton Rouge, when they play LSU this week in Starkville. Safety Jacoby Albert out for the season, suffered a knee injury during preseason practice. They thought they might try to rehab him, get him back. He's done for the year. Albert's in his first season. He's a transfer from Kentucky. Along with Albert, redshirt freshman defensive lineman Calvin Dinkins, not on the depth chart for this week against LSU. He also is not available against Arizona. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal. And our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, you know where to find them, gcopnet.com. You know, the world changed with COVID, where so many businesses had to adapt and learn how to have, employees work remotely or communicate with customers or vendors when nobody could do in-person business. And that's why things like the interactive whiteboard at Gulf Coast Office Products are a huge resource for businesses of any size. Gulf Coast Office Products, gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, y'all. It's after further review. Peter Burns, SEC Network, joins us here in 17 minutes, coming up right after the top of the hour. I want to get into some other Saints news as well. The Saints did extend Cesar Ruiz and a couple of former first-rounders. They extended Cesar Ruiz, and then Peyton Turner hurt again. So I'll get to that in 30 minutes. So I'll talk some SEC with Peter Burns here, and right at the top of the hour, then we'll get back to the Saints news with Ruiz and Turner. When we come back, every single week, we always tell you what we're watching on Thursday as your football weekend begins. We'll come back here on Monday and sort of recap all of it. So we'll do that to wrap up hour number one. Next here on AFR, presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Well, it was a successful weekend over at the Renaissance Hotel, the first LSU home weekend. Of course, the Renaissance hosts the LSU Tigers the night before every LSU home game right there on Bluebonnet across from the Mall of Louisiana. It's the Renaissance Hotel. Look, If it's good enough for the Tigers to stay there the night before the home games, it's certainly good enough for you in whatever event that you may be trying to plan. Call Allison Crump and our friends over at the Renaissance Hotel if you're trying to plan a business meeting for employees, if it's a fundraiser, a gala, a wedding reception, they can host you at the Renaissance Hotel in their beautiful meeting space. It's the Renaissance Hotel. And also remember, the Watermark in downtown Baton Rouge. What an awesome place, man. If you have not been to the Watermark Hotel, highly recommend. Next time you're out about, just pop on in there, have a cocktail or a glass of wine. Just take in that whole lobby area, as beautiful as it is. It's the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge, of course, and the Renaissance on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. The mother of a teen who says her son had an inappropriate relationship with an adult at Bel Air High is demanding answers from the school system. She says her complaints to Park Forest Middle fell on deaf ears and nothing was done. Then, 2 weeks ago, she got a call saying Justin Broussard was fired for having an inappropriate relationship with her son. Tonight, deputies are investigating. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, glad you're rolling with us here on a Monday edition of AFR. Hope you enjoyed your football weekend. Not done, though. We got Monday Night Football tonight. Excited for that one as Aaron makes his debut with Gang Green as the Jets take on the Buffalo Bills. Should be a lot of fun tonight. Watching Monday Night Football. All right, Peter Burns in 12 minutes. Every Thursday, Muse, Paulie, and I give you 3 things we're watching in the football weekend, and then we come back on Monday and we talk about it. So let's do that now.
We watched. Now let's review.
All right, Muse, what'd you have first?
I'm going to start with the rookie quarterbacks in the NFL. I was watching debuts of many. Anthony Richardson, hats off to him. Probably the best one. Not probably, the best one out of all of them. Ran the ball well, as you would expect, but threw the ball fairly well to boot there. 24 37 for 223 and a score. He was sacked a bunch because, it's the Colts, but really good for him. Bryce Young, 2 interception debut and a loss. C.J. Stroud threw for a lot of yards, but no touchdowns or interceptions in a lopsided loss. And you know what? He's not a rookie, but it was his first start. I had to Jordan Love. Nice debut for him. So it's always going to get a little tougher for the rookies before it gets better. We'll see how they do in week 2.
Paulie.
I was watching Ole Miss versus Tulane. Tulane starting quarterback Michael Pratt did not play. He was out with a knee injury. So Kai Horton got the start. Ole Miss came out quick, striked on their first drive, but Tulane responded. Tulane actually took control in the second quarter, and they led by 7 at halftime. Ole Miss would score 20 unanswered points, but Tulane, they had it set up at the late fourth quarter. They went for it on fourth down. Initially got it, but then it was called back because of replay. Ole Miss got a scoop and score late and made the score look a little worse than it really was, but it was a dogfight.
That was a way closer game. The Tulane defensive front throttled Quinshon Judkins in this game. And the fact that Ole Miss and Quinshon Judkins couldn't get going against Tulane is not a great sign for Ole Miss moving forward. No knock on Tulane, no disrespect, but you're going to face just physically superior teams of that moving forward, which another reason why you should feel good about LSU. My first was that I was looking at the SEC this weekend. If you recall, a week ago, the SEC had 3 Power 5 non-conference opponents. South Carolina got smoked. LSU got smoked in the fourth quarter. And Florida lost out at Utah. It was not a good look. So, get a handful of Power 5 non-conference games with the SEC. I want to see how the league did. The result? Not great, Bob. Paulie just mentioned Ole Miss, which did beat Tulane, but Tulane scored, and that was a one-score game with about 2.5 minutes to go, where if Tulane gets off the field, they got a shot to go win the game. They couldn't get off the field. Ole Miss kicked the field goal, went up 10, then the scoop and score is why the that margin, that was a one-score game with 2 minutes to play. Anyway, Vanderbilt went to Wake Forest and lost by 16, didn't cover. Mississippi State needed overtime at home to beat Arizona. Auburn needed a late touchdown to win at Cal 14-10 in what was a hideous football game, but I'm not complaining because I stayed up and watched it. And then, of course, the big ones. Texas A&M went on the road to Miami and lost by 15. Oh, by the way, Miami gifted A&M 2 scores by virtue of a block punt. Well, credit A&M for the block punt, but my point is 2 short field scores and then a muffed punt where 2 touchdowns of their 33 points came off short field. So A&M's offense actually wasn't even as good as putting up 33 points in that game. And then, of course, we saw what happened with Texas and Alabama as Texas went on the road and beat Alabama 34-24 and wasn't nothing cheap about it, y'all. Quinn Ewers threw for 349 yards. Jalen Milroe is a disaster. Y'all, the reason it's wide open for LSU is because the rest of the league ain't very good. All right, we got to go quick. Sorry. Go, Muse.
I was watching Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, home debut in the Colorado Buffaloes, and, it was a sluggish start. Nebraska's defense stifled them, but Jeff Sims is very bad, and Colorado took advantage of some turnovers and got going late in the second quarter and really never looked back. Great environment. That was really cool to see. The uniforms Colorado wore were beautiful, great symmetry throughout. Yeah, all in all successful. Colorado State comes in next.
Paulie.
I was watching Packers-Bears with the young quarterbacks. Jordan Love, off to a good start. Threw for 245 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Bears struggled mightily.
Their defense stinks.
Yeah, they were bad.
Justin Fields will be really good this year, put up a lot of yards and stuff like that, but their defense stinks, and they're going to stink. Iowa. I'm going to do this every week. They got to average 25 a game, right?
That ain't going well.
They hit 24 last week after having 14 in the first quarter and then just completely shut down. And then on Saturday, they beat Iowa State 20-13. No matter how low the under is in Iowa football games, just bet it. Mm-hmm. Just bet the under. They don't score, they can't score. So 24 and then 20. So we're averaging 22, the Hawkeyes right now, off the pace needed for Kirk Ferentz's son. I forget his first name, whatever. Brian Ferentz, to keep his job. So there's one that's like the Yodeler. Have you seen the
Yes, I have.
There's
it's
a Twitter
fantastic.
account, like the Yodeler from Price is Right, the Yodeler, where the thing just climbs. They got that where he's got to hit the top. It's going to be fun to track all year.
And for what it's worth, 13 of those 20 points were offensive.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they had a pick six because it's Iowa.
Go.
My third one's tonight. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. So
yeah.
I'm still watching that. I expect it to be a really good game between the Jets and the Bills.
Paulie.
I was watching Sean Payton's Broncos debut. You mentioned it earlier. Will Lutz struggled. He missed a PAT and a 55-yard field goal. They lost by 1.
Someone check on Will's agent.
And my last one was the battle for Ohio. Cincinnati against Cleveland. Right after Joey B gets his monster contract, surely going to go out there and flex on them Browns. The Browns own the Bengals. How weird is that?
It's strange. It
The
is
Browns own
strange.
them. And then Jamar Chase calling them elves. We lost to some elves. Yeah, I mean, the midfield logo is an elf.
It's terrible as well, by the way.
It's really bad.
Oh.
Really disappointing start for the team that Muse, Paulie, and I all picked to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We gave them the absolute AFR kiss of death. It's only one. Yeah. But that was, woo! The Brownies did work against the Bengals. All right, that's what we learned. All right, let's knock out a break. Peter Burns of the SEC Network joins us every Monday. So, look, Peter is a noted SEC homer. If you follow Peter on Twitter, one of his favorite pastimes is pointing out all of the grandeur of the Southeastern Conference and throwing it in the face of other leagues. I don't got much to say today, so we'll see what he has to say. All right, we'll check in with Peter Burns when we come back after the top of the hour. Don't you move. It's a Monday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Was over at Williamson on Friday. Got to chat with Amber, as the marketing director, and got to talk about a lot of really cool stuff that they have going on over at the Williamson Eye Center. One of the things, I tell you about LASIK all the time, of course. Awesome. Helping people for 75 years now. If you maybe in the past have inquired about LASIK, but for whatever reason, maybe you aren't a candidate for LASIK, they have a new lens implant procedure. Like it's a contact lens implant, which is removable and safe and effective. It's basically an alternative to LASIK. So they're both awesome, but if you're not a candidate for LASIK or for whatever reason had a question about LASIK, this is just another option at the buffet line. So would highly recommend you ask about it at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Week 1 of the 2023 NFL season caps off with the highly anticipated Jets debut of quarterback Aaron Rodgers against the Bills on Monday Night Football. While much of the focus will be on Rodgers, the Jets defense certainly could make things miserable tonight for Josh Allen in the Bills offense, believes unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
This is a defense that is built to stop the Buffalo Bills offense. And what I mean by that is a defense that can rush the passer, a defense that can match up receivers on the back end with their corners in coverage.
Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern, ESPN and ABC, the Manning Cast on ESPN2 with Peyton and Eli. NBA Rockets guard Kevin Porter Jr. arrested on charges of assault and strangulation after an incident at a New York hotel lobby this morning, according to New York City police. The incident did involve Porter's girlfriend. The Cubs promoting top outfield prospect Pete Crow Armstrong to the majors, expected to be activated before tomorrow's game against Colorado. Chicago is 3 back of NL Central leading Milwaukee and currently holds the second NL wildcard spot.
When it comes to hiring, you don't need to be doing all the searching, screening, and interviewing yourself. What you need is Indeed, the end-to-end solution that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire quality candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Cesar Ruiz gets a contract extension, and Peyton Turner gets another spot on the injured list. We'll get to that in about 15 minutes. Every Monday, we have the chance to be joined by our buddy Peter Burns of the SEC Network, courtesy of our friends at Blue Delta Jeans. PB, how are you, man?
I want one of those cool things. I love it when you announce Russo or Paul O'Neill.
Yes.
Can I get one of those sounders, just something that maybe it's Chris Doring dressed up like a clown or something like that, and it's Peter Burns, and then you have something
yes.
An audio clip for me or something.
That's
Can we do that?
100% doable. What would you like your audio clip to be? And I'll caution you before you say I don't care. The reason Muso's is Barbie Girl is because I asked him what he wanted his to be. He said, I don't care. And I immediately said, boom, Barbie Girl by Aqua. And he was like, no. I was like, no, it's done. You didn't care. That's what it is. And now he is actually quite identified by that. People go around all the time and ask him about the Barbie Girl drop. So
Barbie Girl, what's up?
There it is. See? There it is. That's kind of how it goes. That and the fact that he's a pothead.
I think maybe what we end up doing. Okay, that was interesting.
That's also not true.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, listen, HR doesn't need to get involved here, at least not until this after the phone call.
Totally. Look, we'll go ahead. I mean, listen, it's just a known thing. I mean, he's Muse, right? I mean, it's every day about 4:20 on the show, things get a little loopy. It's pretty obvious, PB.
With that, how about what we do each and every year while we do this? Is that it's the final score of it's like the final home call of LSU Florida. How about that? Like the final call from LSU radio of what it would be, just the Signal 5, just LSU beating Florida once again. How about that?
Okay, that's fine. So you want Chris Blair's call from the Florida win last year, and then
pick a year. Pick a year.
Okay.
Whatever year you want.
Okay, I like it. That's what we'll do. Now I would like to say, PB, that most of our drops are like 3 seconds, maybe. So we're trying not to go into like a 20-second call here. You know what I mean?
I mean, less calls of LSU over Florida and less you or more of that is not a bad thing. But I'm with you. Just do the final score. That's all I need. We'll figure it out. We'll workshop it.
Okay. Well, I'm all about trying things here. Hey, you are a guy that on social media loves to wave the banner for the Southeastern Conference. Kind of hard to do today. So what are you doing?
Ooh, buddy.
What are you doing?
Trying to figure out what the hell is going on right now. And I'm like, do you sit there, and this is what we've been trying to dissect for the last couple of days, is this just, hey, man, bad matchups? You know, it was North Carolina, South Carolina. We knew North Carolina was a better team. But then I start thinking about it going, no, I mean, LSU is every bit the team, or should be even more of the team against FSU. I mean, A&M sure as hell should be more of the team with everything that they've had with Jimbo Fisher out there in College Station over Miami. And then especially Texas against Alabama at home. I'm like, at some point, what in the F is going on? And I mean, honestly, I wonder if it, Moscona, is part of it is going, hey, you know what? And like SEC recruiting is always good, but would I rather be the second string guy here or the third string guy here waiting at Alabama or the first string guy somewhere else? And I wonder if it's the transfer portal has something to do with it. I don't know, because on paper, the recruiting rankings are still good. The facilities are still good. The coaching is at the most paid, the highest paid coaches in the land. What's just not connecting here? The only thing I can say that's different is NIL and transfer portal, and that's the only thing I can attest it to. Other than maybe just bad luck, but I don't buy that.
Yeah, I think I've firmly planted my flag, PB, during the summer and while we're at media days on this being the worst quarterback year in the SEC since 2014. And
yeah, you've been saying that. Mm-hmm.
I'm not right a lot, but that's one I feel like is the culprit, the primary culprit of what we're seeing in the conference right now. Is the quarterback play isn't any good?
He played. Yeah, the Van Dyke, the way he played against A&M, the way that Jordan Travis played, the way that Quinn Ewers played, go back and look at the Pac-12 and how many great quarterbacks that they've had so far this season. And you go back and look at it and go, well, I mean, Carson Beck, that offense has kind of sputtered for Georgia. If you look at the course of Jalen Milroe, kind of somewhat debacle. Although, how much of that was on Milroe versus, Texas just absolutely walking Alabama in their own building? I mean, I don't ever recall an Alabama offensive line, especially one that barked as much as they barked this offseason, getting destroyed and embarrassed the way that they did. I don't frankly ever recall that.
Last year I remember we were at there was this general feeling, Pete, about I think maybe like on the season opener of game day, week 0, when all the guys on game day made their picks and everything. And some of them, maybe Herbie made this. He basically said, look, Nick doesn't have down years 2 years in a row. There's like that get right year. Do you remember last year we were in Atlanta and like Will Anderson was there, and those dudes were like pissed. You know what I mean? Like one of my biggest takeaways a year ago was Bama was looking to get back after losing the national championship game to Georgia. And brother, like that should have been their get right year. And instead they played 5 coin flip games. I mean, I just don't think Bama is clearly what they were. It's Milroe. It's the line of scrimmage. They're just there has been an erosion there. I think it's impossible to ignore at this point. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, and I say it is even more so, like this year where they were bumping their gums and then it almost was like a false bravado, almost like they were like trying to talk themselves into being that good until they got punched in the mouth over on Saturday night. But I look at this and I go, at some point, where does it stem from? Where do you lose that sense of, oh my gosh, we're going to lose? Like at some point, Buster Douglas knocked Mike Tyson out, right? Yeah. And Tyson wasn't 100% right there. I mean, Wai Yang one time beat Tiger Woods in the PGA Championship, and all of a sudden you're like, man, wait a minute, can Tiger be beat? And I think now we're starting to see more and more of that. I mean, this stat is crazy to me. In the last 7 Power 5 games, right, against good opponents, Alabama's 4-3.
Yeah,
that's unheard of right now. And I don't know, like the way I heard Saban, and you guys, we've all followed Saban for a long time, whether it's LSU or at Bama. When he is very calm and rational post-game pressers, it almost kind of tips the hand to me, Matt, that it's hey, he knows that this is a young team and he's doing the best that he can. He's got to love them up and coach them up. It seems like when he's pissed in a post-game presser and he used the eye to the hand motion, that means he knows his team is really good.
Right.
And he's upset the fact that they're not executing. I just think he goes on like, I saw so many bad plays by Jalen Milroe on this offensive line. They panned to Saban to see if he was going to freak out. And it was like, well, I mean, this is what I've been seeing in practice all year, all off season. So, I mean, this is what I thought it was going to be.
He's Peter Burns on Twitter at Peter Burns ESPN. Hey, so if I asked you had to pick today who wins the SEC West, who would you say?
I still probably think Alabama. I'm scarred for that second half against Florida State. Scarred. And, I mean, you know me. I'll go to bat for anything in the purple and gold. But I look at this and I go, do I trust that? Like, I saw Alabama at some points look like Alabama of old in that game, and yet I wonder, I'm still so scarred as an LSU fan of that second half going, all right, if they figure this out, can they do that to LSU? And you know what would change it? If I saw Harold Perkins wrecking absolute havoc. If I saw Mason Smith wrecking havoc, right? Like in any of these games so far, I would sit there and go, okay, all right, well, what Texas did, I think our defensive line is good, but I still haven't seen that. That's why I can't wait to see it. What happens against State coming up at, 9:30 a.m. When the cowbells are ringing, the old JP game.
I had a Mississippi State fan message me, and he was like, man, the SEC takes care of their darlings. The last time LSU came to Starkville in a night game, the Bulldogs won 37-7. Which did happen. That was, of course, under Ed Ogeron, and LSU was a disaster at the time. But in any event, like, the thing LSU hates is the 11 a.m. kickoff. I think you got it backwards, Cat Daddy. Like, the worst thing for LSU is having to get up, wipe the sleep out of their eyes, and go have a 7 a.m. team breakfast, bus for an hour to Starkville, and play with cowbells ringing in their ears at 11 a.m. Like this.
Although I'm the opposite. I don't think they've ever. I mean, go back and look at it. I mean, have we ever lost? And I say we. Has LSU ever lost to State at 11 a.m. kickoff? I don't know. I feel like it's 5-0 or 6-0 or something along those lines.
The 2008 game in Starkville, or maybe it was that'd be 08. LSU won it. But Chad Jones, if you remember, had to make it was like a drizzly rain, and Chad Jones returned a punt for a touchdown, and like it was 08 because Peterson had the thing where he was waving him in. And then Chad Jones had to make this like Superman play in the end zone to bat the ball away. State had a pass in the end zone to win it on the final play.
I still would prefer, especially with a younger team, all right? You can't, I mean, we can't deny it. I mean, we know how a Tiger Stadium is at 11 a.m. kickoff. Like, it's not the same when it's full throat at 8 p.m. when people are throwing up on the way to the stadium, right? Like,
yeah.
So if you got a bunch of transfers, I would much rather go to the Davis Wade Stadium at 11 a.m. and play a football game than all of a sudden have a true home field advantage at night at Davis Wade that is well hydrated. So yeah, give me the 11 a.m. kickoff. You end up beating State, and you can kick back and watch all the rest of the games. Which, by the way, stinks this upcoming weekend. mean, outside of our game, then outside of what? Now you've got Tennessee and Florida. It is a week 3 schedule.
I know. Just scribble another W for the Tigers this week and just keep progressing. They'll be 7-1 when they go to Tuscaloosa. And
Buddy, do you feel better about LSU as a whole through 2 weeks right now than you did LSU as a whole through 2 weeks of 2022?
That's a really good question. I'd have to
still
think
do.
about it.
I do. I think they got beat. Like, I don't think they faced somebody like how FSU, who I think is real, but I still feel like there's more talent and there's more opportunity with this team through 2 weeks that I felt ever in my bones than this. I mean, go back and let's listen to the interview that you and I did last week, 2 years or last year through week 2, and I guarantee you I wasn't as bullish on this LSU team as I am now.
That's a good. You know what? Maybe we'll go dig that up. We'll dig that up and see what you were saying a year ago. I'm interested.
Only if it makes sense. Like, if it doesn't make sense, then just be like, oh, we couldn't find the stick.
Just burned and gone. All right, Peter Burns is with us every single Monday here, courtesy of Blue Delta Jeans. Hey, tell us about these Blue Delta Jeans, man. Look at that. Those are good looking.
Listen, if I can make them look good, and you got the dad bod going as well too, they're awesome. Blue Delta Blue Jeans, and the Ryder Cup coming up. I don't know if you saw all the guys giving Jordan Spieth and Scotty Scheffler were giving Justin Thomas some hell about Texas beating Alabama. They're the actual official blue jeans of the Ryder Cup, so it's good stuff. I mean, it's one of those ones where you buy one pair and you'll wear them forever. So they're awesome.
Check them out, Blue Delta Jeans. All right, PB, we appreciate you, man. Be well.
See you, buddy. Bye.
All right, take care. That's Peter Burns. This is After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. When we come back, the New Orleans Saints have extended one former first-round pick, and another former first-round pick is, back on the injury report where he's been for most of his career. We'll talk about it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love this 5-star Google review from Bobby Dixon, who said Bobby, his technician, is the man. Everyone I have worked with at River City's 1 Hour Air has been nothing but professional, timely, and friendly. All of my friends use these guys, and we all highly recommend. Another 5-star review for River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001. It's amazing when you have an HVAC company or any type of contractor that's on time, that's personable, that has an expertise, that's willing to take time to explain to you what they're doing and what your options are. Because for every repair, there's always a good, better, and best option. They explain your options and let you make the decision. How much do you want to spend? How much work do you want to do? It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, I'm happy to say we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to Corvell Toyota and choose your new Toyota today. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front to back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, thanks for being here with us. Of course, you can always tweet us or hit us on the X, whatever people say nowadays. I don't even know. It's at Matt Moscona. You can text the show in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Thomas Gallo said, get Chris Blair's "he threw the cleat" call for PB's intro. That's not a bad idea. I think we could find that. Do you can you think
I might have that saved somewhere, but if not, I think we could definitely find it.
We could definitely get it for sure.
We could just
see if you have it. It shouldn't be too hard. You weren't producing in 2020. Would that have been Haldane?
For football season 2020 it would have been Haldane, because I went back to off the bench in the summer of 2020 from here. So we had
the producer shuffle for a bit. So it would probably be in there if you go into Haldane's folder, AFR 2020. You can find that game week against Florida. It's probably in there. See if you can find it. I would love to, because that's one that could play. All right, we'll come back to that. Peter Burns is just with us. He requested a drop, like we have to introduce me and Muse and Paulie at the start of every hour, and RC has the Achilles. Well, Peter Burns wants a drop. So he said, make it LSU beating Florida. I'm like, great, we'll get to it. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Sunday was Sunday was a hot and cold day for a couple of former Saints first-round picks. Cesar Ruiz got a contract extension, and Marcus Davenport, he gone. Peyton Turner, the other bust of a defensive end. Peyton Turner has found himself back on the injury list. So let's start with Ruiz, and then I'll get to Peyton Turner. So the Saints and Cesar Ruiz agreed to a 4-year contract extension. It's a 4-year, $44 million deal. It's $30 million guaranteed. The Saints did not pick up Cesar Ruiz's 5th-year option in the spring. So for those that aren't familiar with how it works, if you're a first-round draft pick, you get a 4-year contract guaranteed, and then a team option for the 5th year. And the 5th year works kind of like a franchise tag, not exactly, but it's sort of an average of the salaries at that position. And then there's other incentives, like if you've made All-Pro once or twice, or if you've hit certain standards, then it escalates. But in any event, Cesar Ruiz, the Saints passed on his 5th-year option because there was just no reason to guarantee him that amount of money in his 5th NFL year. So instead, what you do is you say, okay, well, we're not going to pay you whatever that number would be. We're going to sign you to a more palatable extension. So I feel very similar about this deal that I did when the Saints signed and extended Andrus Peat. And there were a lot of people upset about that because Pete had, look, you drafted him in the middle of round 1. You expected him to be a tackle. It didn't work out. You moved him to guard. He had injury issues. All that is very, very true. The other thing, though, that I think we learned from the Andrus Peat contract, at least that I did, was it's an undeniable fact. Not every player on every roster is going to be all pro. It's just the nature of it. So can you find spots where you're willing to invest your money into players that are that caliber? And in other spots, can you find good starters in the NFL? And I think that's what the Saints have done here with Cesar Ruiz. So his average annual salary is $11 million, thereabouts. That makes him the 6th highest paid right guard in the NFL. So Chris Lindstrom makes $20 million a year, 20.5. Zach Martin is second at 18.4. Brandon Scherf is third at 16.5. Wyatt Teller of the Browns is fourth. And then Shaq Mason at 11.6 is fifth. So Cesar Ruiz's deal makes him the 6th highest paid right guard on average annual value, ahead of Nate Davis, James Daniels, Alex Kappa. It works. It works for a starting player in the NFL. Is he the best offensive guard in the NFL? No. But the best ability is availability, and Cesar Ruiz has been steady on an offensive line that has been injury prone. In 2021, Cesar Ruiz played every snap of that season, played every offensive snap of that year, where the other 4 starters that year all missed games. He has been consistently available. He's also a guy that was drafted to be a center and had to change positions to guard because McCoy was drafted a year before him after Max Unger retired. You needed a starting center. Ruiz would be a better center than he is a guard, but he also has value because if there is an injury to McCoy, you can slide him in and play center because he is a versatile guy that can move around on your line and play center and guard if you need him to. Now, look, his Pro Football Focus grade a year ago is a 56.6. That's not great. But he only had 3 penalties all year last year, 3 all year, and only allowed 3 sacks all year. So while he's not an all-pro, he is a very good starting offensive lineman in the NFL. So unless you're going to go pay an all-pro offensive guard, stick with your guy. I'll remind you, rarely do the Saints ever sign elite offensive linemen in free agency. Look at the best offensive linemen the Saints have had. Teron Armstead, Jari Evans, Carl Nix, Ryan Ramczyk, Eric McCoy. You drafted all of them. You drafted Ruiz. You drafted Pete. You drafted all your starters. The rare exception is Max Unger. You traded for him. The last really sort of, air quotes, big name offensive lineman the Saints signed in free agency was Larry Warford. And he ended up bottoming out, and you ended up cutting him and you're drafting Cesar Ruiz, oddly enough, because you knew that Warford was going to be a cap casualty. You were going to cut him. You're going to need a starting offensive lineman, which is why you drafted Ruiz. People here melted because Patrick Queen was on the board and you felt they needed a linebacker. Well, little did you know, they were about to cut Larry Warford and they needed an offensive lineman. So, listen, I'm not sitting here like, I'm not beating the drum telling you Cesar Ruiz has been an awesome player. What I'm telling you is he's a good starting player in the NFL. And you're not going to have 22 all-pros on your roster. So pick the spots where you are going to invest big money into players that are going to have a huge effect. And then find really good starting caliber players at the other spots. And I think that's what they're doing here with the Cesar Ruiz deal. All right, it's after further review. I want to talk about Peyton Turner here as well. Let me remind you about Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Of course, you got locations all over South Louisiana. You can find the location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. That's ShawBillsTire.com. And, of course, if you need tires, there's nowhere better. because they are going to sell you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. Now, if you are looking for a job or a career instead of a job, Shaw Bills would love to talk to you. Locally owned and operated, they value their employees like family, just like they do their customers. They've been around for more than 50 years. ShawBillsTire.com. To learn more, apply online or apply in person. It's ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. So, this is very unfortunate. I'm sure that by now you've seen the news, but I think Rappaport had it. I want to say Nick Underhill was the first that had it that I saw. But Peyton Turner suffered a turf toe injury that will require surgery. It was Underhill was the first one I saw that had it last evening at 9:22 on Sunday night. So this is another blow for Peyton Turner and for the New Orleans Saints. So for everything I said about Cesar Ruiz and the best ability being availability, this is the knock on Peyton Turner. It's the fact that he has not been able to stay healthy. And I know that a lot of times when there's a player that's injury prone, you tend to look at the player and you blame the player and you throw daggers at the player. And part of me understands it, but the other part is, what could he have done differently? If someone is being careless just in their life, like if you're a basketball player and you tear up your knee wakeboarding or something, that's stupid. If you're Peyton Turner and you're out there and you're playing hard and you keep getting hurt, you're just an injury-prone human being. It sucks. I don't know any other way to say it. It's not his fault. He was playing hard. It was a play where he created a pressure and he kind of leapt in the air, and the way he landed was awkward. You could see him buckle right when he did. And he goes down, and lo and behold, it's turf toe. And look, last year we saw this with Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning had turf toe last year and had to have surgery to repair ligaments in his foot, and he didn't come back to like week 12. We've seen this. Michael Thomas last year had turf toe. We saw it with Deontay Hardy as well, which kept him away for a while. Like, this has been a bit of an issue. But I look at a guy like Cam Jordan, who's 34 years old, who plays the same position as Peyton Turner. He's 34 years old. He's in his 13th year, and he's missed 2 games, and one of them was because of a COVID test. The other was he had an orbital fracture in his face. He missed 1 week. Like, plays the same position. He's just been incredibly durable. Does it mean he takes better care of his body in the offseason? Is his post-game regimen better? Or is he just genetically predisposed to being able to withstand this and not be injured? I think there's something to that. Like, I'm not going to blame Peyton Turner for getting hurt. It's not his fault he got turf toe in the game yesterday. It's frustrating, however, because this is a guy you invested a lot of draft capital in, expecting him to be a franchise defensive end like you expected from Marcus Davenport, which came up snake eyes as well, and now you're heading down the same road with Peyton Turner, unfortunately. Now, when you look at what this means for the future, Peyton Turner, there's no way the Saints are picking up his 5th-year option after this year. Basically, after year 3, a team has to decide if they're picking up a first-round pick's 5th-year option. There's no chance the Saints are picking up Peyton Turner's 5th-year option. He has played in a total of 14 games in 3 years. Well, now that into his 3rd year. He played in 5 games as a rookie, 8 games a year ago, and now he's injured after week 1 and going to miss who knows how much time. So there's no shot you're picking up his 5th-year option, which would be projected at around $12.1 million. So you're going to let him go play out next year and then see what happens after that. They did this with Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram was a massive disappointment as a first-round pick. They did not pick up his 5th-year option. He played his 4th season, played pretty well. They signed him to a lesser deal. Then once they paired him with Kamara, he got better by not having to carry the whole load. Maybe that's something that can happen for Peyton Turner. Get healthy when you can. Try to play out your 4th year. And if it's warranted, maybe the Saints extend you or maybe you leave in free agency. But there's no way that they can pay him or pick up his 5th-year option. And I would say the flip side of this is there is a massive opportunity for Carl Granderson and Isaiah Foskey. Carl Granderson is on the 2nd year, the final year of a 2-year contract the Saints signed him to. Saints signed Carl Granderson to a 2-year, $5.2 million deal. Not per year, 2-year, $5.2 total. So that dude's playing on about $2.5 million contract this year, and he's a starter for you. And oh, by the way, he's producing. Massive opportunity for Carl Granderson, who, went awry during his college career. Landed at Wyoming, had some accusations against him. It was controversial when the Saints even took him. but he's kept his nose clean. He stayed out of trouble, and he has been a really good player, and now has become a starter and a guy that's earned a better contract. There's also an opportunity here for Isaiah Foskey, the second-round pick out of Notre Dame, who was a healthy inactive in week 1 and clearly was slow to come along. But now with the injury to Peyton Turner, somebody's got to step up, and maybe it'll be Foskey at this point. So worth keeping an eye on as they move forward. Peyton Turner, turf toe, going to require surgery. If he follows the same, path and timetable that Trevor Penning a year ago, that you're looking at probably 3 months. So could he be back for the end of the season? Maybe. That's probably what you're looking at this point. Okay, it's after further review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Thanks to everybody who's watching us live on YouTube. If you're there, please smash that like button, subscribe up to the channel. And, of course, thanks to everybody who's watching us on WBTR, Cable 19 in Baton Rouge. We appreciate all of our viewers as well as our listeners. And let me knock out a quick break. Come back. Brian Kelly met with reporters today, putting a button on the Grambling win, turning the page to Mississippi State. We'll let you hear a little bit about what the coach had to say. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. I got word last week from my friends at ProCharge that the very first ever electric Hummer is in Baton Rouge now on a lot. I'm telling you, y'all, and I've been saying it for months and months and months. It doesn't really matter if you like EVs, if you drive an EV, if you think you will ever drive an EV. The point is people are, and manufacturers are ramping up EV production. And so there has to be EV chargers. So if you have a commercial building, a commercial property, if you manage a hotel, if you run an apartment complex, if you have a brick and mortar grocery store, shopping center, whatever it is, dentist's office, it doesn't matter. Because when someone's EV in their dash needs a charge, the GPS is going to find the nearest charger and lead them right to where you are. That also becomes passive revenue for you as well. Learn more. ProChargeEV.com. ProChargeEV.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Well, there's no doubt the Deion effect is real. Colorado's 2-0, and I'm not sure if you saw this, but both ESPN's College Game Day and Fox's Big Noon Kickoff have announced they are going to be at Boulder this weekend. So for College Game Day, this is the first time Game Day has been at Boulder at Folsom Field since 1996. It's been almost 30 years since College Game Day was at Folsom Field. So clearly they're taking advantage of it on the ESPN side with Game Day going to Colorado. The bizarre thing about Fox and the Big Noon Kickoff is they were just there this past weekend. They're going back again. They were there for the Colorado game against Nebraska, and now they're going again for Colorado State. This, by the way, is also the first time that Fox is having Big Noon Kickoff at a place where they don't have the game. They were going to be in Champaign for Illinois against Penn State, but reverse course said, no, we're going back to Colorado. There's an old radio axiom. It goes, play the hits. And it's in reference to music radio. And I've told this story often, but here at our radio group at Guarantee Media, one of our sister stations is Eagle 98.1. And for years, whenever you're trying to put together the music list, you do focus groups to see how songs score on focus groups to see what you're going to play. And it's odd because I'll never forget this. There was Smooth by Santana and Rob Thomas, which was a mega hit, late 90s, early 2000s-ish. Mega song. Y'all know, just like the ocean under the moon. You've heard it. And I remember there was a focus group and they were scoring Smooth against Sweet Home Alabama, and people wanted Sweet Home Alabama for the 10 millionth time. It's just play the hits, give the people what they want. They don't want the B-side from the 72 album. They want the song they know. Anyway, so if you are ESPN, College Game Day, if you're Fox, play the hits. People cannot get enough of Deion, of Colorado, of this whole thing right now. It is the biggest story in college football, and I don't even think there's a close second. Is Deion, the personality, coming in and starting 2-0? And by the way, I also think it's brilliant. It's a home game against Colorado State, so it's by not even close to being the biggest game in college football, but it's going to be the biggest show and setting and thing that people are paying attention to right now. And keep in mind, next week, Colorado goes to Oregon, where they very likely could lose. And then they come home to take on Southern Cal. So there's a chance, there's probably a good chance actually, that Colorado, after they beat Colorado State this week to start 3-0, could lose their next two, and then some of the shine wears off. So to go there now, you're catching them still on the rise or at the height before they get knocked down, because it's going to happen. Colorado, they're not going 12-0. They're going to lose games. I still think for this team, you get to 500 in a tough Pac-12. It would be a phenomenal start, especially considering you had 2 Power 5 non-conference games. So you go and you play TCU on the road, you get Nebraska at home. You're playing 2 Power 5 non-conference games. You get Colorado State, and you're playing 9 league games. That's brutal. So yeah, still if they get to 6-7 wins, it's incredible. But in any event, very smart. By the way, I want to throw this out there. And I'm just throwing this out there for the sake of going on the record. The more conversations I have about Deion and the whole spectacle of it all, the more and more convinced I am that he's going to end up in the SEC in a couple of years. He's not going to leave Colorado while Shedeur and Travis Hunter are there. And both of them are sophomores, so they got another year before they can go to the NFL. But I think there is I'm just put this out there. I think there's a better than good chance that Deion is in Boulder next year, and then when Shedeur and Travis Hunter go pro, Deion's in the SEC. Just floating it out there. We'll follow. Not anytime soon. Maybe after next season. I think that's going to be a very real storyline to keep an eye on. All right. We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. Love telling you about our friends over at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Of course, if you're interested in semaglutide, they've got that and can help you out there. Hormone replacement therapy. You want to feel like your younger self, they can help. All this month, Pico Way laser tattoo removal, 20% off. That is the most advanced laser tattoo removal and technology in the world. Fewer treatments, virtually pain-free, and very effective. And all this month, 20% off at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. After the top of the hour, I do want to talk a little bit about LSU secondary because Brian Kelly, it was a kind of a key core focus of what Brian Kelly had talked about today when he was meeting with reporters. So I want to come to that after the top of the hour. I want to have a little runway to get to it. We'll knock out a quick break here. When we come back, Muse will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up the hour. Brian Kelly talked about a lot today. He talked about his secondary. He talked about the offensive line, the run game improving, gave the injury report, gave an update on Mason Taylor. So we'll get to a lot of what Brian Kelly had to say as we can.
Mason Taylor!
Scared me. Not even going to lie. I wasn't expecting it at all. Mason Taylor.
Mason Taylor!
It's loud and aggressive.
Yeah, you definitely don't miss it. Like whenever it's in there, you notice it for sure. So I got to get a little bit more adept at hitting it on time.
You got to hit it on time.
Yeah, I'm not used to. I'm not used to the like I would be with Todd Peterson.
Ted Peterson.
Where I'm just conditioned.
Oh, Paulie got it.
I got it. I just completely ignored it.
You got to hit it on time.
Yeah, it being the drop.
I mean, Paulie, it's 4:46. What do you think he's talking about hitting on time, huh?
Well, I think we know.
I think he was a little voice dragging a little bit there.
Just a smidge.
Yeah. Muse puffing the Magic Dragon over there.
It's the name of the boy's dragon. It's the name of his magical dragon friend.
I bet you would, Panama Red. All right, Muse will come down off his high to do Tigers and the Pros next. It's AFR.
AFR.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. The mother of a teen who says her son had an inappropriate relationship with an adult at Bel Air High is demanding answers from the school system. She says her complaints to Park Forest Middle fell on deaf ears and nothing was done. Then, 2 weeks ago, she got a call saying Justin Broussard was fired for having an inappropriate relationship with her son. Tonight, deputies are investigating. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Step inside an Infiniti QX50, and you'll find
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
A lot of football to get to.
Lots of
Start in New Orleans, where the Saints face the Titans. There's a heavy LSU flavor in this football game. Arden Key had the standout day among all the Tigers in it, though. 4 tackles, a sack and a half, a pass defense, and an additional tackle for a loss. He was all over the place. Ask Trevor Penning. He will remember him well. Christian Fulton also recorded 2 tackles, but then had to leave the game due to injury. No solid update yet on his status for the future with the Titans. And then Tyrann Mathieu totaled 5 tackles for the New Orleans Saints. Foster Morrow also got some action, but did not record a stat. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Yikes. 14 of 31 for Joey B and 82 yards. That's not going to get it done.
Championship.
That's not going to do it.
Lock it up.
Jamar Chase, 5 receptions on 9 targets, 39 yards. Probably not what they were looking for there either. But what the Browns were looking for was the day they got from Grant Delpit. Leading tackler for Cleveland yesterday. 8 of them. 1 of them for a loss. Defended a pass and hit the quarterback. He was all over the field, was Grant Delpit.
He looked awesome, man.
He really did.
About time. Keep him healthy, and, man, when he was right in 2018, God, he was so good.
He was awesome. Another game with a very heavy LSU presence was Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Justin Jefferson, while he didn't get in the end zone, racked up 150 yards on 9 receptions. He had over 100 yards receiving in the first quarter in that ball game, a long of 42 to go along with that. Danielle Hunter, fresh off his new deal with Minnesota, made the most of it. 7 tackles, a sack, 2 TFLs. He also defended a pass, so he was all over the place. And one more from Justin Jefferson, a tackle on an interception. Did you see this?
No.
He laid this guy out. Like, picture Brandon LaFell circa 07 Mississippi State.
Ooh.
Justin Jefferson pretty much kind of did that to homeboy who intercepted the pass for Tampa Bay.
Here it is.
Was rough. Watch this. Boom.
Oh, wait, hang on. I'll scroll back, Paulie. Hang on.
Puts the shoulder right. So his interception kind of at the goal line. He's coming back across the field, and Jets just obliterates him, dude. He lost his own helmet. Yes. Just decleats the guy.
By the way, random aside, those Vikings uniforms, perfect.
They're really good. I like them a lot. Although I will say this just as an aside for the entire Viking uniform, I don't like their helmet. I wish they'd fix their helmet. But the combo there, very good. Devin White on the other side for the Bucs, 12 tackles to lead them and 1 TFL in that ball game. Quan Alexander was the leading tackler for the Pittsburgh Steelers with 9 against the Niners. Moving quickly here, Patrick Queen with 11 tackles, a sack, and a pass defense for the Ravens. Derek Stingley racked up 3 tackles in that game. Damone Clark last night for the Cowboys, 5 tackles. We'll wrap it up. Adrian Wojnarowski tweets, the Portland Trailblazers are signing Duop Reith, free agent. He, for what it's worth, played for their Summer League team, also was a starter for the Australian team in the World Cup, and has spent time in Serbia and China now, a member of the Trailblazers. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, thinking of popping the question? Go where Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for 40 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com. Hour 3, Brian Kelly putting the Grambling game to bed. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Late last week, boy, there was tons of really inclement weather that rolled through our area. If, as a result, you had water in the house, think you might have mold, call Mold Zero. Go to the website. You can always look at the phone number there. There's a 225 and a 504, but they service all of Louisiana. So you can always give them a shout, even if they're outside of the Baton Rouge or New Orleans areas. When you scroll down on the website, you'll see so much great info there. You can see pictures of their work. You could learn more about, you can read their U.S. Army Corps of Engineers report on Mold Zero, how this patented non-toxic dry fog, how it works. Of course, it's a fog, so it gets into every nook and cranny, so it kills everything, no matter where it might be lurking in your home. It's Mold Zero. Mold-0usa.com. Mold-0usa.com.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, I'm happy to say we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to Corvell Toyota and choose your new Toyota today. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up and down on my last dime. Call in Baton Rouge. Operator, what you put me on through? Gotta send my love down to
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Chief star defensive tackle Chris Jones has ended his holdout. He's agreed to a 1-year deal and will rejoin the team. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Jones will receive multiple incentives in the final year of his current deal. The revised agreement does not include added years. Aaron Rodgers grabs center stage tonight in a new shade of green on Monday Night Football. The Rodgers-Jets era officially begins tonight against the Bills. The hype has been building for New York since the acquisition of the future Hall of Fame quarterback from Green Bay. A couple of keys for Rodgers and the Jets to get the W tonight, explains ESPN's Booger McFarland.
He's got to be a ball distributor. He doesn't have to be MVP Aaron Rodgers. He's just got to be the guy to be the ultimate point guard. They got a ton of weapons. Yes. A ton of weapons. He's got to get the ball to those weapons, but it all starts with the offensive line. That's been the biggest question mark with this team all summer long. Can the offensive line protect him?
Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern, ESPN, ABC, the Manning Cast on ESPN2. Steelers defensive lineman Cam Hayward could miss multiple weeks with a groin injury, reports ESPN's Brooke Pryor.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona. And here we go. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Successful weekend. LSU went out and beat Grambling 72-10. The most points LSU scored in regulation since a 70-point outing back in 1991 against Appalachian State. Of course, the 2018 7-overtime game against Texas A&M. That's why the qualifier is in regulation. Most points LSU has scored since a 1977 game against Rice. LSU hung 77 that day, courtesy of then quarterback Steve Ensminger, and Carlos Carson had a big day with a handful of touchdowns. So it was a landmark day offensively for LSU. Scored touchdowns on your first 10 possessions. Your offense got going. Your defense was a little sluggish at the beginning, 173 yards of offense allowed in the first quarter, but got it together. And after those first 3 possessions, Grambling never threatened again. So now you turn the page, get ready for conference play this week. You head on the road to Mississippi State against a very different-looking Mississippi State squad. When we had the opportunity to talk to Brian Kelly on Monday as LSU begins game week for Mississippi State, one of the biggest changes here, obviously, not just Mississippi State, but in the country, is the Mississippi State offense. Because you go from something so different, so specific as the air raid, and now you're going to change those concepts. You still have Will Rogers there, who has a chance to break every SEC career passing record by the time he leaves campus. But that was when he was running Mike Leach's air raid. And they are not running Mike Leach's air raid right now. As a matter of fact, in the 31-24 overtime win, Mississippi State played an overtime game this past weekend. Will Rogers threw 17 pass attempts. He was 13 of 17 for 162. Oh, yes, this is very different. Brian Kelly talked about, number 3, please, talked about this Mississippi State offense post Mike Leach.
Quite a different change there. Going away from the air raid offense, going to a much more traditional offense. It is one that, certainly that many see in college football, but they've got some really good players. Will Rogers is probably one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the SEC, 35 straight starts. So when you have that, it's a really good thing. He's got 11,000 career passing yards. Jaquavius Marks, an outstanding running back. So a great challenge for our football team.
Marks had 24 rushing attempts, by the way, against Arizona. But the real question in this game is LSU's secondary against the Mississippi State pass offense. And that is going to be the real story in every game LSU plays until proven otherwise. This is an LSU defense that the secondary just could not compete against Florida State. And early in the game against Grambling, they were spreading you out and throwing it and put up 170 yards. And you allowed a good quarterback in Miles Crawley to sling it around a little bit on you last week. Now you go to Starkville. You're not going to face the air raid. And again, Mississippi State's best receiver, Ra Thomas, is now playing at Georgia. So it's a different look for Mississippi State, no doubt. But there's a very real consideration, which is if your secondary is as bad as we think they've been here through a couple of games, why wouldn't everybody throw the ball against your secondary? Because when it's bad on bad, and I'm not saying Mississippi State's passing offense is bad, but it's certainly not what they've shown they want to do here early. Why wouldn't you do it when that's what you can exploit from the opponent's defense? Now, Brian Kelly was very candid today, and if he's candid, to a fault, if nothing else, but he was asked today at his Monday press conference, did you know in fall camp that your secondary was going to struggle like this? Here was his answer.
Yes. We knew that we were playing new players back there, and the challenges were going to be in developing players with very little experience, but with talent. But talent is only one part of the equation. It's developing, the consistency and doing the little things that require playing at a high level, tackling, leveraging the football, being in the right leverage, whether it's inside leverage or outside leverage, raking through the basket, when the ball's in the air and getting it out, and which we've done, much better in week 2.
So he went on a bit there, obviously, but he talked about some of those specific things that they could do better, raking the ball out of the basket, right? Whenever, the ball's coming in, you get your hand in the middle and you rake the ball out. So most importantly is the thing he said at the very beginning. Did you know your secondary was going to struggle? Yes. And it was obvious to all of us who watched this team. I mean, we went out there the first day of camp, and we have told the story a million times already. They had the one-on-ones with the corners and the receivers, or the DBs and the pass catchers, and they ran 22 reps, and the offense won 20 of the 22. It was overwhelming. The offense started way ahead of this defense. Now, to their credit, I feel like the defense caught up and played better as camp went along, but clearly our eyes weren't deceiving us. They were struggling to contain really good receivers. So What option do you have? I know a lot of people have talked about Denver Harris. Brian Kelly addressed that today in the most detail that he has. But I want to point something out before I let you hear Brian Kelly's comments. We've talked about Denver Harris here, and I've told you from camp that he was running third team. And there's been pushback on that, and I know there's this sort of contingent part of the fan base, this contingency that believes or wants to believe that Brian Kelly's just teaching Denver Harris a lesson, why he wasn't playing him. And what I pointed out routinely throughout fall camp was two things. Number one, he didn't stand out, that being Denver Harris. Again, it's not to say he's a bad player, will never be good. I'm just telling you what my eyeballs saw. He didn't stand out. The first day the drills we were talking about, he was guarding Shelton Sampson, who ran a go route and ran 5 yards past Denver Harris. I'm not saying he just didn't stand out. And number two, when things got as bad as they did against Florida State, if you're Brian Kelly, if you have a better player and you're choosing not to play him, it's foolish pride. You're not going to cut off your nose to spite your face. And the thing that I've said consistently, and this isn't PFA, it's not plucked from the air. It's a thing that I've been told from people who know what they're talking about or close to the program, is that Denver Harris, great athlete. I've said this here. I've said it on my podcast, LSU Daily. I've said it on Moscona. I've said it everywhere. That Denver Harris is a great athlete, but he's basically relied on his athleticism his whole life and has never had to play in zone concepts and things like that. Until it comes along, it's going to be hard for him to get on the field. I literally, this is a cut I pulled. This was literally Sunday morning on Morning Scone. For those of you who don't know, I do a show on my personal YouTube channel literally every day. This was literally Sunday morning. I mean, I said it a bajillion times. This was just the most recent time I said it.
What I've been told from the beginning about Denver Harris is really good athlete, has played most of his football career just being a better athlete than the guy across from him. And if you're going to play at this level, you have to understand zone concepts and your responsibilities and zone coverage and all that sort of stuff. And he doesn't. And if this team is going to continue to struggle to cover the way they have, they're going to have to play a lot of zone and tackle. And if you have a guy that doesn't understand his responsibilities in zone, it's hard to justify putting him out there.
Okay, so that was my voice literally Sunday morning. I've said this a bajillion times. So thankfully, Brian Kelly finally said it publicly today.
I liked his demeanor. He didn't lose his cool in some instances where, he got his helmet pulled off a couple of times. He was being held. I think he's growing, and these young men are in a process of growing and learning. And, he's learning our coverages. He's learning, he's a press corner. And we don't just play press. We play press and we play bail and we play off and then we play press to off. And so there's a lot of different things that he's learning. He was just strictly a press corner. And he just pressed you. And when you came off the bus, he pressed you. And this is new to him, but he's learning and he wants to get better at it every day. So listen, I'm a coach. I want a captive audience. I want guys that want to be coached. And the great part about it is he wants to be coached.
And the truth shall set you free. Y'all, I'm glad Brian Kelly finally said it. So you don't have to choose whether or not you believe me. From Brian Kelly's mouth, Denver Harris has been a press man. He's played press man his whole career. He's got to learn zone concepts and all the other things, bail and all the other stuff that he said, which I don't know. I'm not a defensive back. I'm not a coach. I'm not a college coach. But I'm not guessing on this stuff. Denver Harris is a great athlete. I want the kid to be awesome. Believe me. We all want LSU secondary to get better. And if you have a guy that's capable of improving your secondary, awesome. Accelerate that process, get him there. But if you think they're just choosing not to play him to teach him a lesson, I don't know what else to tell you. Brian Kelly just told you the thing that I've been saying for months and months and months because everybody knows it to be true. They got to get him caught up in how to play the position and not just be an athlete playing man coverage, press man coverage on the outside. So hopefully they get there. And hopefully he's consistent and patient and continues to improve and get better because he's got the potential. But I know what happens with situations like this. You got a kid that was a 5-star. It's not his fault he was a 5-star. The recruiting service has made him a 5-star. And so you see a kid that's highly rated and you just become enamored with that guy. It was the same thing here with Cardell Thomas for years. People every day, hey, why is Cardell Thomas playing? Because he was, and I don't want to criticize the young man. It's not his fault, but he wasn't capable of playing it at a high level in the SEC. It was a miss. It happens. And hopefully for Denver Harris, he continues to improve and get better and better and better because athletically, he's got a lot of gifts. He's got to get better at the position, and LSU needs him to. So hopefully he's bought in. It sounds like he is, and they'll continue to improve there. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. When we come back every week, Muso, Paulie, and I give you our college football takeaways from the weekend that was. We'll get to that. Also, Monday Night Football preview coming ahead. Let's hear more from Brian Kelly and Dennis Allen after the Saints beat the Titans to move to 1-0. We got a ton to do here in our 5 o'clock hour, and glad you're with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you are even thinking about selling your home, think no further than Darren James. 335-7666. That's Darren's cell. Don't believe me? Call him right now. Text him right now. 225-335-7666, 335-7666, or go to agent225.com. Shoot Darren a text. Say, hey, Darren, hey, DJ, what's up? Scone said to tell you hi. I guarantee, he'll reply to you instantly. If you need to sell your home, if you're thinking about selling your home, call Darren James. Got a great one listed right here. Looking at his social media, Darren does such a great job on all of his social platforms to promote his listings, your homes, along with basically every other method that realtors may use. But Darren has the processes, the proven processes in place to get your home sold faster for more money. 335-7666 or agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play. Looking for that summer shade. Time to slip away. Some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After after further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, glad you're with us here. Of course, Relief Windows, energy efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. They do it all. And now indoor shutters as well. That's Relief Windows. Every single Monday after the college football weekend, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you our 3 biggest takeaways from the college football weekend. Hit it, Muse.
Another week in the books. What did we learn about the landscape of college football?
Give me a little bit more on that the music bed.
Yeah. We got it.
There we go. All right, Muse, what you got?
Ohio State's offense. We talked about this a little bit last week when they faced Indiana, and there just wasn't much there. Wasn't much substance there, and there really wasn't again this week. And they faced Youngstown State. Like, Marvin Harrison was really good. Everything else just feels a little out of sorts. Like, it hadn't been great with Kyle McCord. It doesn't feel right there currently, and they better get it right fast because they have to go to Notre Dame in a couple weeks, and that's going to be a really tough test.
It'll be separation Saturday.
Cliches aside, it will be. It just
prove it Saturday.
It doesn't feel right at Ohio State currently.
Show me what you got Saturday. Are we at the point of the season yet where they name every Saturday?
Not yet.
Okay. We'll get there.
We're coming to it.
Paulie.
I'm looking at the Pac-12 leftovers. Oregon State sits at number 16.
How about it?
They've outscored their opponents 97-24.
DJU, shout out.
Unranked Washington State took down number 18 Wisconsin in Pullman. We all think Oregon, USC, Utah are going to lead that division in that conference, but I'm interested to see if the leftovers can play spoiler down the road.
Maybe this is something that's a longer form conversation, but how about the Portal Kings? Texas, Miami, Colorado. Teams that decided they were going to go make a heavy push to supplement their roster through NIL deals in the transfer portal. Looking pretty good. Something worth following because this could be illustrating a sea change in college football where it is better to invest your NIL resources in transfer portal than in high school recruiting. Look no further than Texas A&M a year ago, and then look at Florida State. Keon Coleman, Braden Fisk, Ben Charles Cypress. How different does LSU's roster look this year if those 3 players are wearing purple and gold instead of garnet and gold last Saturday? I would reckon the result is probably flipped. Portal Kings. Again, probably a longer, but a big weekend for those 3. Miami beats Texas A&M, Colorado beats Nebraska, Texas beats Bama. Worth pointing out.
So kind of teased it a little bit there when talking about Ohio State, but Notre Dame, quite impressive for Marcus Freeman, and specifically kind of what you mentioned, Matt, portal, right? Sam Hartman, he has made a lot of difference, all the difference really for that Notre Dame offense. NC State, pretty good defensive team. Wet track out there on their home field, and didn't matter. Notre Dame goes out there and puts up 45. It was one thing when you're doing against Navy and Directional School U, whoever the hell they played week 2. I don't even remember. It doesn't even matter. Sam Hartman has that team looking...
Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Eddie George in Tennessee State.
Doesn't matter. Sam Hartman has Notre Dame looking strong offensively, and when Ohio State comes into South Bend in a couple weeks, that's going to be a game where a lot of people are looking at Notre Dame to win that one. I don't know if they'll be favored at home, but let's just say a lot of people are going to like them in that ball game.
Paulie.
I learned that Iowa's win over Iowa State was a historic one. It was Coach Kirk Ferentz's 200th victory. Not really much to say other than the offense was bad, and yeah, we all know the whole story. But historic win for Kirk Ferentz.
Congrats to Kirk.
I loved it. I hit the under.
Florida State, no letdown. What? I mean, suffice to say that after an emphatic season-opening win against LSU, you certainly could have potentially seen a bit of a letdown. They went out on 66 on Southern Miss. I said it last week after the game. Again, the more information that you have, you can make clearer statements. Florida State's best team, LSU is going to face all year on their schedule. It's looking more and more like that's probably the case.
Clemson, my goodness. They are not ranked in the AP poll for the first time since 2021, and it was a pretty lengthy stay out of the poll then, week 6 through 12. The offense under Garrett Riley has just not been great. They got off to a really sluggish start against Charleston Southern, I believe it was.
Yes.
They ended up pulling away, but think about this. They scored 28 points in the third quarter alone. It took them almost 6 full quarters into the year to get to 28 points. Just a very sluggish start, not at all what they expected with Cade Klubnik, and again, bringing in Garrett Riley. Dabo's got some issues there that probably go a little deeper than that. I know a lot of people have talked about transfer portal with him and his reluctance to use it, but I think it's definitely kind of panic time when you look at Clemson, and that's just was further illustrated with this another sluggish start this weekend.
I think it's panic time for Nebraska and their quarterback situation. Jeff Sims
I can't believe they didn't bench him
did
on
not
Saturday.
look good at all. He struggled in week 1, threw 3 interceptions against Minnesota, and it was even worse against Colorado. He barely threw for 100 yards, threw another interception, and if you watch the game, they just didn't get anything going. It'll be interesting to see if Matt Rule makes a change.
Muse mentioned that Clemson's out of the poll. A couple of other things that are noteworthy in the poll. How about the Pac-12 with 8 teams ranked in the poll? Like, what a hell of an exit. I mean, the league's going goodbye. I'm not sad about it or anything, but 8 teams in the Power 5 in the top 25. And how about this? This is the first time. Trying to find it. I saw it last night. It came out. I believe it was since 2017 that the top 5 in the poll consists of each of the Power 5 leagues.
That's pretty cool.
So this is the first time that we've seen this in more than half a decade. So, of course, you've got Georgia still holding at number 1 overall, Michigan out of the Big Ten at number 2, Florida State out of the ACC at number 3, Texas out of the Big 12 at 4, and Southern Cal out of the Pac-12 at 5. So each of the Power 5 are represented in the top 5, which shows some parity in college football that we've seldom seen in this era. All right, those are our college football takeaways. Thanks for being here with us. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com, new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. That's SouthPointVW.com. If you're looking for a new vehicle, make sure you put Volkswagen on your list. I'd never driven a Volkswagen in my life. I'd never driven a Volkswagen until 2010 when heard South Point was interested in sponsoring the show. I said, okay, well, if I'm an indoor show, I want to drive all the cars. So I went by South Point, and I test drove every single model that they had, and I fell in love. And since then, we have only had Volkswagens in our house. I've driven a Passat. I've driven the CC. I've had the Atlas, now on the Atlas Cross Sport. I love them. The style, the feel, the performance of luxury, the great German engineering manufactured in the USA. The safety features put me so much at ease when I got Drew strapped in his car seat in my vehicle with me when Erica's driving out on the roads. What more could you want? Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? I do want to delve a little deeper into that, into the parity conversation, because I really believe this is a product of what we're seeing in college football with the transfer portal, is that you have teams. We were talking about it last hour with Peter Burns, if you weren't here. And PB was kind of afraid. He's like, I don't understand. The recruiting's still good. The coaching's still good. The resources still good. What's going on in the league? My opinion, and I'll do a deeper dive on this, but my opinion, just surface level opinion, is this. And I've talked about this with Nick for a couple of years now, that the difference at Alabama is for years and years and years and years and years, Nick always got those 4- and 5-star guys to stay. They didn't transfer out. They didn't leave early for the draft. So he recruited 4- and 5-star class on 4- and 5-star class, and they just kept piling up. And so you always had this incredible depth, 1 to 85, full of blue chippers. Well, now you recruit that 4- or 5-star. They don't play. Aaron Anderson's a great example. Aaron Anderson was a 5-star, goes to Alabama. Plays in one game last year, largely due to injury, but plays in one game, transfers to LSU. Well, that hurts your depth at receiver. How much different would it look at Alabama if Anderson was there? And if they kept all of these players that they recruited highly? And it's really affected them on the line of scrimmage mostly. I mean, that Texas defensive front straight got after that Alabama offensive line and Jalen Milroe. So I think that's the biggest thing. So what you've seen are programs with resources. And the other part is not just to say programs with resources, because LSU has resources. Florida has resources. Georgia has resources. Alabama has resources. Tennessee has resources. I think what you're seeing is programs that are success-starved. You have a more willing donor base that's ready to pony up to get players out of the portal if they need to. Miami, Florida State, Texas, Tennessee, historically tradition-rich programs that have not been good for a while, that have donors that are willing to say how much you need. Oh, you want that player? We're in. Whereas places that have had success maybe are a little complacent. I mean, like, we talk about it often with LSU. First of all, this isn't the place with the deepest pockets. There are programs that have more wealthy donors than LSU. But it has been an expensive 3 years, from paying Ed Ogeron $17 million to go away, to guaranteeing $100 million for Brian Kelly, to paying Kim Mulkey north of $2 million. Now you're paying her north of $3 million per year. Coach Maneri retires. You bring in Jay Johnson. He's going to get a new deal after his national championship. And now you want to pay the players too? I mean, you could only shake that tree so much. I mean, you could only go to the well so much before you got to start finding new wells. So I just think that's kind of part of it. But building through the portal as opposed to building through the high school ranks is, I think, the transition that we're starting to see in major college football. And that means you're going to have fewer roster spots for some of the borderline high school prospects that may end up going group of 5, getting better, and once they sort of grow up in that program, you'll see them leap into Power 5 schools and get an NIL opportunity. Braden Fisk is a great example of that. Here's a guy that wasn't very highly recruited. He goes to Western Michigan, becomes a total stud. Everybody wanted him, and Florida State outbid everybody for him. They were more willing. It's not that LSU and other places didn't want him. They were more eager. Okay, hat tip. It's going to be fascinating to watch that continue unfold in this NIL era. All right, it's after further review. We're not going to break, y'all. We'll come back, preview Monday Night Football tonight. We'll see Ron in his debut for the Jets. Also, Dennis Allen met with reporters after the game. Let's hear some more of what he had to say about the Saints-Titans, and also met with reporters today, DA did. So we'll get some updates after the Saints start 1-0. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery tonight and every Monday. All-you-can-eat wings. It's Monday Night Football. You got Rodgers and the Jets against Josh Allen and the Bills. You want to watch Aaron Rodgers' debut at the Jets and watch it on a 13-foot by 8-foot screen? You can do that at Pluckers. No, by the way, you can eat as many wings as you want for one low price. That's at Pluckers. Every Monday, all-you-can-eat wings. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Make Pluckers your home this football season. Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Friday Night Football, whether it's college games or Friday Night Lights before or after. Of course, all day Saturday, your NFL Sunday ticket. You're following your fantasy team. The best place to watch every game all season long is at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Tonight and every Monday, all-you-can-eat wings. And, of course, you got Monday Night Football on the TV. So it's Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-20.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
It's an exciting team, and the team is ready. I feel like we just needed something to galvanize. I'm not saying I'm it. I'm just saying there's an energy that's kind of surrounded me, and the team has picked up on it, and it's a good feeling.
Aaron Rodgers, as he gets set to start the Rodgers era with the Jets. The Bills tonight at home are a 2.5-point favorite over Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. ESPN analytics give the Bills a 57.6% chance of winning tonight. For Rodgers and the Jets, it's at right at 42%. So the computers and the odds makers like the Bills at home. It'll be a fun with obviously one of the best young quarterbacks in the league tonight, Josh Allen, and one of the best of all time in Aaron Rodgers tonight. We'll come back to that in a bit. Of course, if you want to bet on that game, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Keep telling you, if you're a new customer, you got great deals, especially right now with the NFL cranking up. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge, one word, Baton Rouge. Make a $5 NFL bet. They'll give you instantly $200 in bonus bets. It's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. And remember, all throughout September, every single NFL game day, so it's Thursday Night Football, Sunday, Monday Night Football, every single game day, all throughout September, they'll have great specials and offers inside of the app. So make sure you check every game day. It's for all customers at the DraftKings Sportsbook. And download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. New customers, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 NFL bet. They'll instantly give you $200 in bonus bets. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms. Licensed partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. Come back to Monday Night Football here again in a little bit. We got Otter joining us in less than 10 minutes for some Otter Locks. Otter had a good day yesterday on his picks, so we'll get to that here in a second. Dennis Allen met with reporters on Monday. Saints start the season 1-0. Their 16-15 win over the Tennessee Titans. That's the NFL. Never apologize. Take them however you can get them. So the Saints moved to 1-0. There was there were a couple of issues that kind of reared their ugly head. One of them was, Trevor Penning and the protection issues. Derek Carr was sacked 4 times. He was hit 8 times. There were 7 TFLs. So DA was asked on his Monday press conference what sort of led to all those protection issues.
I think they have a really good scheme in terms of what they do. They get good players that are doing it. They run a lot of stunts and games and things like that make you have to be able to work in concert with all 5 guys together, and they've got good guys doing it. So I think the way that they attack protections is a difficult challenge. And yet we've got to be better from an offensive standpoint of being able to, create a pocket for our quarterback to step up into and complete some balls down the field. And when we were able to have the protection, I thought we were able to do some things offensively in the passing game.
That's one of the best defensive fronts in football. As we talked about it all week. Tennessee's number 1 last year against the run. They've got monsters up front. So, the challenge isn't quite as sincere a week from tonight, Monday Night Football in Carolina against the Panthers. But the flip side of it also is, just like you're facing Ryan Tannehill, a very average NFL quarterback, next week on Monday you're facing Bryce Young in his 2nd game ever, who had a kind of a rough start. So, yes, one of the real advantages the Saints have is that they drew the long straw in the quarterbacks they're going to face this year, because they are not lining up week in, week out against the best quarterbacks in this league. Now, Dennis Allen did Monday give an update health-wise and injury-wise after the game Sunday.
I think overall, pretty good. Ryan Conley probably going to miss some time with that same knee that he had injured earlier. And then it looks like Peyton Turner's probably going to have surgery on a turf toe injury, kind of similar to Trevor Penning's deal at the end of preseason last year. So, obviously we're still going through the evaluation process on those things, but I think that's, probably the direction that we're headed.
It's definitely a bummer. Something we talked about last hour, kind of going into detail there on the Peyton Turner injury. It's hard to blame a player for an injury. Just the reality is he is an injury-prone player. I mean, there's enough of a sample size now through his college and his early NFL career to suggest he is just a guy that is injury-prone. I don't know that there's anything Peyton Turner could have done differently. He's making an aggressive play, trying to go get a TFL, and as he lands kind of awkwardly, and guy ends up with turf toe, injures his foot, and he's going to have surgery, and he's going to be out for 3 months. So it's a bummer, but I don't know how you place those injuries at his feet. I don't know what he could have done differently, but the real question is, now with that door open, who steps up? And Dennis Allen was asked if this is an opportunity for Isaiah Foskey. I mean, you used your early 2nd-round pick on Foskey coming out of Notre Dame, and he was a healthy inactive the first game of his NFL career. So is this an opportunity for Foskey?
An opportunity's opened up for him. Obviously we have a couple of, options, also on the practice squad. And so we'll see, what we feel like is the best move for our team. But certainly, look, anytime somebody faces an injury and are going to be out for any significant amount of time, it opens a door for somebody else to take advantage of. And so, I think it's certainly an opportunity for him.
Look, I think obviously you've got Carl Granderson starting opposite Cam Jordan, who's been awesome and is probably playing himself into a really nice contract. Carl Granderson right now is under a 2-year, $5.2 million contract, and he's starting for you. Like, he's earning himself a contract. How does the rotation build beyond him? Tano Passanio, I thought, played well yesterday, and it's got to be a situation where Foskey steps up. I don't know, even down on the practice squad, who you're looking at that could come in and give you a better option there. So it's an opportunity for Foskey to see if he can go work his way into the rotation. And by the way, how about a hat tip as well for Zach Bond? I mean, my hand's in the air. That's a guy that we've talked about for years here as a former 3rd-round pick, that they had great expectations. I think it's just a situation where his skill set doesn't exactly match what the Saints want to do with their linebackers. He's a much better rusher than he is off-ball linebacker. They're trying to turn him into an off-ball linebacker. Sound familiar? But he came up with a huge punt block yesterday. And you see a punt block in the dome with Steve Gleason in the building. It always gives you some warmth in the cockles, the sub-cockles of your heart. So good for Zach Bond. Came up with a huge play in that game of the Saints on Sunday. All right, it is after further review. Monday Night Football tonight. Excited for it. Rodgers and the Jets against Josh Allen and the Bills. And We'll get a pick from Jimmy Ott coming up here in just a few. Brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Remember, a commercial roofing product. It is a silicone coating product. 20-year warranty and roughly half the cost of a roof replacement. So, if you have a commercial building and you think you need to replace your roof, before you do, call Hudco, learn about the silicone coating product, roughly half the cost of a roof replacement, and comes with a 20-year warranty. You're still going to own that building in 20 years? Give yourself 20 years till you have to replace the roof. It's worth checking into. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. All right. It is after further review. Real quick, here was Peyton Manning talking about Josh Allen and the pressure on him. So much of the focus today and all season is going to be on Aaron Rodgers because it feels like that window is a small one, right? You got a quarterback approaching 40. You got to go win now. What about Josh Allen? Can he get the Bills over them? Here was Peyton Manning on the pressure on Josh Allen.
Look, I can speak to it. I can relate to it. Hey, you've had these great regular seasons. Yeah, but what are you going to do playoffs when it counts? And I lived that for a large part of my career until we finally did it. Got to the AFC Championship and then won the Super Bowl a couple of years later. So I think the Bills know that. I think Josh knows that. McDermott knows that. Kind of no time for talking anymore. Just go out and do it.
First step tonight, of course, Peyton and Eli will be on the Manningcast, or you can watch the Monday Night Football broadcast with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. All right, let me knock out a quick break. Final break of the show. We'll come back. Jimmy will be here. Otter Locks. We'll see what he's got tonight for Monday Night Football. Otter was on Dallas last night, by the way. Thank you. That one worked out all right. 40-0. All right, it's AFR. Otter Locks next.
AFR.
Chatted earlier today with Miss Teresa over at Clegg's, and it is really that time now. Woke up this morning, it was 68 degrees outside. Gonna get some lower temps this week. Fall is coming, y'all. They are set up and ready to go at Clegg's. Pumpkins, hay bales, squash, gourds, corn stalks. It is time to decorate, and Clegg's has you covered. It's also time to plant your fall garden, to plant your fruit trees. They got new shipments of fruit trees and citrus trees there now. So go see our friends at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. They're stocked up on buckbusters, mobucks, deer corn, rice bran. So all you deer hunters, it's time to start getting in that mode. They've got you at Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like Hudco, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Monday Night Football tonight, one thing left to do. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Hey, brother, what's going on?
Pretty good day.
Weekend?
Yeah, a lot of your guys on Football Sunday liked Cleveland. That was a really popular play, and well, that one hit in a big way last night or yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, it's hard to pull against Joe Burrow, man. But when he misses training camp, I mean, he's a slow starter. And look, now the weather was tough. There's no doubt about that. And Cleveland's got a much better running game with Nick Chubb than what Cincinnati has. But still, I mean. Just a rough day for Joe B. In the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday. We did, man. It's we had a winning day. It was a winning day. It was an odd day. The noon game started out 7-1 to the under, so you throw the Thursday night game under as well. A few games went over in 3, but 11-4 to the under, and kind of one of the trends there, including Matt 5-2. On divisional games.
Okay.
And what we have tonight is a divisional game in the AFC East. And now listen, these are two quarterbacks that are, certainly capable of, of moving the football. But I thought that the Jets matched up last year with the Bills. It's hard to sift through all the hype. I mean, it's unbearable, to a degree. But, and I want to see how, I'm a little bit guarded because, man, the humane side of the thing with the DeMar Hamlin thing, the Bills handled it as best as they could. But that was, how much of a distraction from the actual football was that last year? It had to be. And I don't know if I'm ready to give them a pass or if they're just may not quite be, as good as we thought they were. Regardless, I got a small play to the Jets in the under tonight. Divisional games under 5-2 so far this week, and I thought they matched up really well with them. There's certainly a big-time upgrade at quarterback with Rodgers, and I'm not crazy about the motivation and the ways he goes about it. When Aaron Rodgers is motivated for his own little, different ways, and he produces. So I'm hyping it up tonight a little bit with the Jets in the under.
Okay. Jets, I'm looking at 2.5, and then under 44.5.
Yeah.
All right, Jets and the under for the Otter today. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
Tomorrow we're at Mike Anderson Seafood. Try the salad over there.
It's pretty good. I've heard it's pretty good.
Salad.
I've heard it's pretty good. All right, Otter, we appreciate you, man. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, man. Have a great one. That is Jimmy Ott. It's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here every single weekday here on AFR after a really good football weekend. I am going to be super interested in Monday Night Football tonight for many obvious reasons. It's putting a button on week 1. It's Rodgers' first game with the Jets. And last week when we went around the room and made all of our season predictions, I did not have the Jets in the playoffs. Did both of you have the Jets in the playoffs? Paula, you did not?
I did not.
None
have
of us
the
had the Jets in
the playoffs.
None of us did. Who were your wild card teams?
Out of the AFC, it was Pittsburgh. Oh, I gotta have to pull it back up. Hold on. Or do you have it handy, Paul? Or no? Pittsburgh. I think I had the Dolphins, and forgive me, I don't have it right in front.
So
of me.
Denver was one of my surprise.
Yeah, I didn't have the
wild card
Jets.
teams. I did not. So none of us had the Jets in the playoffs. Where we varied was I had Miami winning that division. Miami looked pretty good. Yes, I mean that offense is going to be tough for anybody to stop this year. Can Tua stay healthy? I think is a real question. But will that team get 3 teams in the playoffs? It's possible, certainly. But I got Rodgers and the Jets third in that division. But big opportunity, divisional game on the road here to start things off. But I like what Otter was saying and kind of what Peyton Manning was saying in that cut a bit ago. For Josh Allen, you're getting to that point where you're looking at other quarterbacks around the young quarterbacks around the league who are getting to the postseason and winning. He's got to do it at some point, get over that hump. So the other thing that we didn't talk about today, how about Sean Payton, the onside kick to open his time in Denver?
Illegal touching on the kicking team.
They recovered it, and there was an illegal touch. He went ambush on his first stinking kickoff back into the league. Unfortunately came up short in the game. All right, Muse, Paulie, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have an awesome night. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll see you tomorrow at 3. Stick around.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, let me remind you about Traction. TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Tell you all the time, parents, your son or daughter plays sports. You want to help them get sport-specific training so they can be the very best version of themselves, whether that's a young tennis phenom who has a legit chance to become a pro, or your son is a JV player and wants to become a varsity starter. Traction can help. Again, go to the website, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. You'll see the memberships. It's small group training, and for a membership fee, it's minimal membership fee. You have unlimited monthly sessions at this world-class facility with the best trainers in the world, getting sports-specific training to make you bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, whatever it is that your son or daughter is trying to become in their sport. It's Traction. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's government